14 technologies of the future that will revolutionize the world by 2050. The trend hashtag 10-year challenge showed how the world changed in the last 10 years. This reflection invites us to think about how the world will evolve by 2050. Will the cars fly? Will there be robot butlers? What will the year 2050 bring? Keep watching to find out. Welcome to Top USA Entertainment. 1. Neurotechnology to enable thought conversation. Mobile phones have become indispensable parts of our lives for day-to-day verbal and textual communication. However, not far in the future, there would be a technology that would allow communication using only our thoughts. What might have suffered from a science fiction technology worthy of movies has today been tested in primates and is on its way to being tested in humans. You can see a time when a metalanguage is developed for the trained from learning the senses extracted from electrodes placed in the brain, or synthetic speech is developed for the paralyzed. Perhaps one day it will be used for telepathic communication between humans or to drive a Tesla. 2. 1/10 of the world's land submerged in the sea, and the population will increase. Recently, a near-precise digital elevation model, called Coastal DEM, which uses neural networks to reduce SRTM errors, has tripled previous estimates of global vulnerability to sea level rise and coastal flooding in new research conducted in 2019. 600,000 people live in coastal areas, and the figures are not encouraging. The new study estimates that several populated coastal cities, such as Hong Kong, Alexandria, Mumbai, Bangkok, or Shanghai, will be underwater at high tide by 2050. This could mean that around 150 million people now live on land that will be below the high tide line by the middle of this century. While efforts to reduce emissions and control the harmful effects of climate change will need to be significantly intensified, if huge tracts of land are ignored, they will be underwater in the next 30 years if drastic action is not taken to stop runaway climate change. And many scientists estimate that the world population will reach more than 9,800 million people. Others believe that the population will not be able to reach such a number of inhabitants on the Great Blue Planet. 3. Attending school will be a foreign concept. When was the last time you went to the library to get a book to learn something? Probably a few years or many years ago. The online education industry will grow at a rate of 40% annually and become a $325 billion industry by 2025. It adds greater flexibility for parents to look beyond curriculum and school schedules, and much less to have the freedom to choose the field of their choice. In 2019, there were 2.5 million homeschooled children at kindergarten-like ages, up to 12 years old in the United States, a steady increase of 6 to 8% per year. While there are identified challenges that will not completely eliminate classroom education versus online education, such as problem solving and face-to-face discussion with peers, there are many platforms that currently enable this, and in the next 10 years, this could become the norm. Do you think this may be possible in the year 2050, or do you consider it a prediction? 4. People who go to Mars on vacation. Elon Musk has long said that SpaceX's primary goal since its founding in 2002 has been to help make humanity a multi-planetary species. In September 2019, it announced its interplanetary travel plan along with its imposing 118-meter Starship Mk1, a prototype of SpaceX's massive reusable launch system, at its South Texas launch site. The Starship is capable of many launches in a single day and can carry a crew of 100 to the Moon, Mars, or other destinations via space or Earth. The Starship will carry Japanese billionaire Yusaku Maezawa and a few others on a trip to the Moon this decade. Meanwhile, NASA has also unveiled a campaign to lead an innovative and sustainable exploration program to demonstrate the capabilities required for human missions to Mars and other destinations. So while NASA may not be sponsoring a vacation to Mars, efforts are underway globally to make the transportation to Mars a success. So by 2050, a vacation on Mars can become a reality. 5. Gig economy, the only way to work. Millennials don't want to limit their creative juices to just one or two fields. They would have at least 4 or 5 different careers in their life, and they can all be at the same time. Yes, flexible working, self-working will be a new normal. Given that more than 1 in 3 workers are self-employed today, and with the benefits of adapting to this workforce for both workers and employers, further adaptation to the gig economy will make it a way of life for tomorrow's workplaces. Do you think this may be possible in the year 2050, or do you consider it a prediction? 6. A common digital currency around the world. Commercial and monetary transactions over the internet are an old phenomenon, and electronic money is no longer a new concept as it was 10 years ago. With the advent of technology, the need for more systematic electronic money was established, which gave rise to cryptocurrencies. It has taken the payment sector by storm for its commendable efficiency and transparency in enabling financial transactions through today's electronic and digital methods. Facebook has presented its initiative in this space called Libra, which aspires to be a simple global currency and financial infrastructure that empowers billions of people by having regulatory dependence, financial inclusion, and respecting financial sensitivity so that it can adapt around the world. Further afield, in the Middle East, the UAE and Saudi Arabia have teamed up to launch a common digital currency called AVER, which is a bit of a way to establish a common method of financial settlement using blockchain and distributed ledgers. While a common global currency has been endowed as a concept, challenges such as regulations and financial privacy will remain obstacles to making this a reality by 2050, unless valid frameworks are put in place to address the challenges. 7. Future generations tailored or personalized. And today, we talk about the advances in vitro fertilization. It is predicted that scientists will be able to use big data analysis to compare the genetic sequence of people with their DNA information. How are those genes expressed throughout their lives? And being able to transform or personalize genes before implanting them into embryos for fertilization. This is mentioned in detail in Hacking Darwin, a scientific study on the future of genetics and technology, written by Jamie Metzel, a member of the World Health Organization's Advisory Committee on the Governance of Human Genome Editing. He believes that in 50 years, conceiving babies in the lab will be the normal way, and people will have many more options for implanting embryos, such as bypassing genetic predispositions, such as heart disease and Alzheimer's, to personalize their future generations. This could cure many diseases that will occur throughout people, since it will be possible to know the complete DNA sequence and determine if this embryo may suffer from cancer in the future. So parents won't have to worry about that, because it can be customized to future generations. However, there are strict ethical issues currently behind the geopolitical conflict over the regulation of genetic improvement, and we are still far from this being accepted in society as a normal way of conceiving. Do you think this could be possible in 2050? 8. The average life expectancy could increase to more than 100 years. No one wants to die early, and humans have been working since time immemorial to become immortal. With advances in healthcare and lifestyles, and increased awareness of the benefits of personal well-being, life expectancy is experiencing a continued upward trend. According to the WHO, duly global hope increased by 5.5 years between 2000 and 2016 to 72 years. However, the American Geriatric Society warns that science does not yet have a cure for mortality. While medical expenses for the elderly will increase, life expectancy will continue to improve and their children may live longer. 9. Renewable energy sources will be the only source of energy. It is an established fact that fossil fuels are on the verge of depletion in the next 50 years, and how the increased use of fossil fuels today has led to global warming. The German Advisory Council on Global Change on the Environment has pledged to be 100% emission-free by 2050 and only get its energy from renewable energy sources. Similarly, Finland, Denmark, Sweden, and a number of other European nations have joined in their effort to achieve a sustainable future. The International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, has published its Global Energy Transformation Roadmap to 2050 report, which outlines sustained and widespread efforts to establish renewable energy sources around the world. The report has plans segmented very systematically by countries, sectors, energy, infrastructure, transport and industries, associated costs, and the cost-benefits to carry out this transformation, and 6 areas of focus on how to carry out this transformation. Energy efficiency and renewable energies are the 2 pillars on which this transformation is based. 10. Autonomous electric flying cars. It is perhaps the most obvious of predictions. This could become a reactive solution to the world's traffic problems. What the Jetsons imagined would be 2062, in the cartoons of the early 90s, could become a reality before then. Original equipment manufacturers, such as Renault, Toyota, and Boeing, have already tested prototypes of flying autonomous cars and devised the most futuristic design concepts for making these cars in flight and transportation for the public. Uber has promised to launch autonomous flying taxis well before 2050 in their efforts to become the Amazon of transportation, while aiming for the commercial launch of flying taxis by 2023. Autonomous flying cars will be tomorrow's thing, and large automakers around the world today have their teams busy with vision. 11. Artificial intelligence. The elephant in the room is here. It's the potential for something truly transformative to happen. An intelligence explosion, for example, means an AI that becomes effective enough to improve itself, doing much better than humans at everything. This could create peace and abundance for all of us, or destroy the world. I don't like to think about this. It's not fun. It also ruins the whole point of writing predictions, because such a radical event, whether good or bad, would make an incrementalist approach moot. This may be why many scientists predicted it, and a couple predicted it wouldn't happen. Unfortunately, yes, there is a significant possibility that it will happen in the coming decades. The text-based models, GPT-3 and soon GPT-4, are improving very fast, among other advances of which I am far from fully aware. Assuming there is no explosion of intelligence, AI will continue to have a huge impact on our daily lives. Creative work will be affected at the level of factory jobs today. In the arts, there will be a nascent dichotomy between AI-assisted and authentically human productions. AI-art will generally be more proficient at achieving some stated purpose, like telling a heartbreaking love story, and large commercial studios will use it abundantly. For example, in Hollywood, authentic human art will rarely match the technical quality of another kind, but many people will see it as truer in some sense. There will be endless debates about which type is better. 12. Virtual and augmented reality. VR and AR will continue to improve and become widespread by 2050. Eric Hole coined the term supersensory to describe the fusion of all entertainment media, gaming, TV, movies, books, VR, and AR, into a single, hyper-stimulating network accessible to all. I think this is mostly correct, but I want to add an important nuance. The more virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR, increase, these will be difficult to avoid, and more will be a sign of status, although some believe that they will become affordable to all people. We will have high-resolution simulations of Rome and Athens, but visiting the real Rome and Athens will be a sign of wealth, even more so than it is today, although the cost of travel is likely to decrease over time, as one of the predictions for this year is that anyone can have access to virtual reality. Reality will become a symbol of status and wealth. 13. Space. In the alternating space between circumspection and optimism. On the one hand, recent decades have taught us that progress in special technology is slow and expensive. On the other hand, it was very fast in the 1950 and 1960 decades, and there is no reason why we should be less capable now than we were then. In fact, it is a matter of motivation. During the special race, the barriers to entry were absolutely high, but the United States and the Soviet Union were highly motivated to overcome each other. Today there is no such competition, but the barriers to entry are getting smaller. When SpaceX commissions its first spacecraft in a couple of years, it will be much less expensive to send anything from people to cargo to building materials. As this video argues, we may not be far from creating the equivalent of the Berlin airlift that supplied West Berlin during the Cold War, but for lower Earth orbit. A major change in space technology would cause the incremental predictive approach to malfunction. In his post, Eric acknowledges that, and consciously makes the not-so-conservative prediction that there will be a Martian colony by 2050. I agree and added that there will also be a lunar colony, as well as a significant number of people remaining in orbit at any given time. However, let's keep in mind that all of this will be new and undeveloped by then. After Columbus rediscovered America, it took several decades before there were impressive European cities in the New World. 27 years from now, our settlements in literal new worlds will be small and not entirely profitable, but they will be growing. 14. Agriculture. Only one of the 10 rocket writers of Strange Loop canon made a prediction about agriculture. He believes that we will feed cities with vertical farming. It is interesting that none of the others even mentioned the subject. Food is at the center of the human experience, and yet it seems so mundane, at least in rich countries, that we pay very little attention to it. I predict this will still be true in 2050, but so will the current trend of developing steady improvements in the way we grow and prepare our food. The Honey-Crisp apple, now widespread in grocery stores and considered by many to taste superior to other cultivars, was first produced commercially in 1991. In the same decade, Dutch scientists discovered why Brussels sprouts were bitter, and Brussels sprouts taste better than ever. Since last year, we produce strawberries locally in the Quebec winter, thanks to investment in greenhouses. The food world of tomorrow will be full of small quality-of-life improvements like strawberries, and these improvements will be small enough that we don't realize it until we take them for granted. It also seems likely that we will have found meat and dairy substitutes good enough to fool most people. Lab-grown meat is also likely to be commercially viable in the coming decades. As a result, we will no longer have to kill animals to follow an omnivorous diet. But of course, we will continue to do so. Like everything pleasant that becomes unnecessary, eating real meat will become a sign of status. The good news will be that factory farming, widely regarded as the worst part of agriculture, will have begun to decline. This is what is going to continue to happen. Great things are important, of course, but our civilization is good for self-improvement, subtle and gradual, and that is also important. In 2050, we will be at the end of the decade that will have been the closest we have ever been to a golden age. It won't feel that way. There will be a lot to complain about, but unlikely disaster scenarios aside, it will be true. For my part, I look forward to it. Tell us what you expect to happen in 2050. What are your predictions for that year? Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to the channel. Remember, this was Top USA Entertainment. I wish you an excellent day. Thank you very much and see you next time.